All right. Looks like we're on. See if anybody's here. What time is it? About 9:15, almost 9. See who's around for this thing. A little late today. I had to go drop off a trade-in at the dealer with a buddy of mine. So I'm probably about a half hour late. That's okay. Sunday morning. Beautiful day out. Warm. It's going to be a nice day. A little cloudy, but not too bad. We'll see who's here. See if anyone chimes in. 2 are watching. We'll see. There's James. Good morning. Stanley. Good morning. Hopefully all is well, everybody. James, I didn't see him on last night except for the 2 videos he did, so we couldn't ask about the sale. Bama. Morning, Doug. Good morning. Good morning. I ended up calling up the friend of mine who had those messed up Poulan saws, and I told him all the stuff that was wrong and what I had to do, and he ended up saying keep them. So, okay. So now I got a couple projects I can make a couple of good saws and sell them. So, not charging them for any of my time. And this way I can, charge when I sell them. So no big deal. But James, I saw not brand new, 2016 Dodge pickup Hemi, all the options. I don't know if it was a Laramie or one of those packages, whatever, at the dealership just now. And my buddy's like, buy it. And I'm like, I got a 2000 S10 with 160 something thousand miles on it. Why do I need a new truck? So we'll see. I may get a truck this week. We'll see what happens. It'd be nice to have something decent to tow with. My 2000 S10 4-cylinder does 0 to 60 in 3 weeks. So it takes a while. Oh, it snowed in Indy the other day. James is from the Indianapolis area, and he got 3 inches. 3 inches. So I figured it might be coming our way, but it didn't. Hey, Scotty, good morning. But now we didn't. Here, it's like I said, spring here. It's 50, 60 degrees. It's crazy. I have a little video I'm going to put up later. I had a Ryobi trimmer that hadn't been used probably in 10 years, and the fuel lines were all solid. But I ended up testing it by taking a piece of hose with a filter into a bottle of canned fuel and tested out the primer system so everything worked, and it ended up working okay. I got it to work good. So little tip, I'll put that up later. But what's going on with everybody? You doing okay, James? How's today going? Hopefully today's going good for you. Where's the patés? Usually it's not a stream without the patés. Where are they? Usually Chris and Jason chime in and we have a little conversation here. But anyone? Let me put up the link. I'm sorry. That's why nobody's here. Let me put up the link. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, there's the link. There it is. Anyone who wants to come aboard, click on the link. If your camera's on, you can come aboard, and we'll have a couple people here. Wow. Let's see. Anyone wants to come aboard, hit the StreamYard link. Hey, there he is. Speak of the devil, James. Here's Dr. Matt. Morning, Matty.
Morning.
What do you got going on? I hear you had the deal of the century.
Oh, I got lots. Yeah, I got lots this morning. Oh,
this morning?
I've just been waiting to wake up here, but I'm working on my coffee. So, and I knew you were going live. I didn't want to interfere.
Usually after breakfast, 8:30, but I had to drop off a trade-in truck with my buddy, so we had to go to the car dealer. And I saw a truck that I'm interested in, so I can get rid of my 20-year-old little truck. So we'll see. So a couple of XPs, or what'd you pick up the other day?
Yeah, I got a couple of X-Torques. They were just part saws, and got a good deal, $50 a shot.
Nice.
So one of the things about the X-Torques is like a lot of the parts on there I don't use. The top ends, top covers, intake.
And that's what the case is bored out deeper, right? Because of the cylinder sits in deeper.
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah.
the case has a little bit more relief on it. It's really not that difficult to take an original case and grind on it so an X-Torque motor fits. But it is a little bit of extra work to do that. So
I know the intake was
but anyway, so you can use them interchangeably. Essentially, you can use the X-Torque cases and put an original motor on it. But then you have to change all the other stuff. The intake is different. The carburetor is different. The top cover is different.
Are the X-Torque
thing about
features worth it?
What?
Are the X-Torque features worth it? Like with the Strato or whatever the hell it does in there, is it really worth it? All the X-Torque features?
No, at least I don't think so. It can be a fine saw. Not saying it's not. It's just that the original is much easier to mess around with. So as far as modifications and all that stuff.
There's the Pates. Good morning, Polar Bear Ed. Good morning, everybody. We got the players here. See, now that you're here, Maddie, let's see if Chris and Jason chime in.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be around.
I'll put the link up again.
See, I can't see the chat. If I'm like this, I can't see the chat.
Are you on YouTube though? Are you on YouTube or StreamYard? What do you want?
StreamYard.com.
If you're on StreamYard, on the right-hand side upper, it says live chat. Click on that.
No.
On the right-hand side of your video. Well, then call it up. You could call it up on YouTube too. Split the screen, call it up on YouTube, hit the 3 buttons and prop out chat and just pull the chat into your StreamYard.
I'm on my cell. I can't. I don't think I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. Yeah, the cell is different. Yeah.
So I can hit chat on here, but
it should say live chat. If you pull your phone sideways, maybe it'll say live chat. Oh, here they come.
I can hit live comments.
There we go.
Morning.
But then I can't see myself. And I guess I don't need to see myself. But
I got you. Morning, Jason.
Oh. Okay, so James here, Bama Mudmower, Stanley. Hey, Stanley. Bull Bear Ed. Morning. Scotty.
Scotty's watching from a cafe.
Do you guys?
What are you working on, Jason?
Demo saws too, or you guys just do chainsaws? Because they're almost the same.
Demo saws are the same basic motor. It's just you got a saw instead of a chain.
Yeah. There's a lot of money in those.
Jason, you at work? What's the deal?
Yeah, I'm at work right now. I work Sundays. And we're out of acetylene. So right now I got to deal with the propane torch. So this is going to be very painful.
Ooh, propane is not that. You might as well use
the
match.
For quite some time.
Yeah.
That's why I get paid by the hour for little stuff like this. And some idiot used my flashlight and didn't even have the courtesy to recharge my freaking batteries either.
There you go.
All they had to do was just plug it in. Exactly where they found it.
What are you doing? A full exhaust, Jason?
No, another mechanic worked on the truck, so I have to do follow-up. So I'm just it's called PM, preventive maintenance. So now I'm just doing the PMF, the follow-up. So they wrote up body bolts, and now I know why, because it's such a simple thing to do. But when you're using a propane torch, it's not simple anymore.
You don't have any MAP gas around?
No, we're out. And it's Sunday, so we can't get anything either.
Well, go to Home Depot and pick up.
Unfortunately, that doesn't work like that in my company.
Yeah.
So I wish it was that easy. I really wish it was.
What's really interesting, if you look at the map, my house is 9 minutes away from 3 different Home Depots. They are equidistant. So there's no choosing one, like, oh, let's go to the closest one. No, there is no closest one. There are 3 of them. They're 9 minutes away. Luckily, Lowe's is 5 minutes away, so I got that.
We like Lowe's.
But if you look at the newest MAP gas, it's actually not acetylene. If you look at the mix, it's a different chemical. They do not use the propane anymore in MAP. There you go. What kind of bird is that, Matt?
Polly is a Nande Conure, and she's been doing a little bit of plucking, but she's not quite as pretty as she used to be.
How old?
25?
I got it.
Wow.
She's 25, right, Katrina? Yeah, 25.
Wow.
Actually, I wrote
MC
it down.
Harry. Good morning, everyone. MC, I was going to join that conversation you guys had last night, but it looked like you were pretty crowded. But it looked like good conversation though about machining and all that. What's on tap for today, Maddie? Anything?
Oh, I got lots. Oh, I got never-ending work today. It's like playing chess, and the whole setup is done. So now it's just a matter of doing it. Very exciting. Also, I went to Dad's. I got the 262 parts. So I happen to have a 262 O-ring, and it is different than the other ones.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So it's a different thickness and a different width, and McMaster Car doesn't have it.
This is the one for the oil pump? The oil gear?
No,
Or
it's on the other side. In fact, it's the flywheel side O-ring.
really?
There is on the 262. There is no O-ring on the oiler.
What is it, for a seal retainer or something? For like a seal?
It's on the seal retainer for the 262, 254, 257, all that seal retainer. Side. Yeah, flywheel side.
Yeah, that's the one you told me I was missing, right? When I came to your house, was that the one? When I had the 257? It might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're all the same thing, but the seal retainer is the new ones are plastic. The old ones are metal, and the metal ones are less likely to warp. So the metal, I did talk to one guy. He actually had a plastic one that had warped. He got a new one, and it was fine. He just couldn't get it to seal up. The new one was fine, but I'm just upset that the darn O-rings, $4 or $5 every time. It's like, if you go on,
how much different is it though? Is it a lot different size wise?
It's different enough. Yeah. It's a 1.78.
Really? Not 1.6?
O-ring, metric O-ring, and the inner diameter is 34.65 millimeters. Wow. So it really, it's an odd size, and it was like the best I could find on the chart, like to match up, and it does indeed match. So I'm gonna get. I have the option of, like, the O-ring store has them for 5 cents a shot, but eBay has them for $6 for 50 free shipping. 50's fine. I'll order from eBay for right now, and if I need a 1,000 more, then I'll go to the O-ring store. Sure. If I do that many 262s, anyway. So I've got that, but I've got the 262 to go back together. Because I actually machined the head. Actually, I'll show you.
Hey, I got a quick question for you, though, Maddie. I was talking to James yesterday, and he was saying something about a tool sale. Is there a sale going on with your crank tools?
No, he was being funny.
Okay. Because he told me something about 50% off, and I said, no, I don't think so. Ooh, look at that. What'd you say, 7th thou, Matt?
I took off 7th thou.
Yeah.
It was like warped. I mean, something was off.
Forest too, right?
It was pitted and it was warped, and that is a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Than it was. So this is the 262 head. So I've got that. I got the whole thing to put back together.
You got all the parts.
I've got the 372. I had a video on the 372 head that I did, but that video didn't show up because I lost my battery. But I did machine that. So
you're still looking
this is basically ready for port work. And to go with it is the piston.
Do you do the pop-up yourself?
Yep.
What are you trying to get, the 20 squish, or you got a little more?
So yeah, we'll have about 20,000 squish, but I would guess this will be 200 pounds of compression when I'm done, because I had to do the case too, the head, all machined. What a job! Jason's over there with the torch. Keep going with the torch.
You might as well put it there on a stand and just let it sit there.
Oh.
Andrew, that's your cousin, right, Maddie? Andrew.
So let's see what else I got. So yeah, we got all the X-Torque parts here and here.
Yep. Unless he's buffering. There we go.
Okay, no, I'm good.
You're back. I'm surprised. More people got to come into the chat. Where's Bama? Where's everybody? Where's Mrs. P? Usually she's lurking.
Mrs. P is
All right, I'm
probably
back.
getting her beauty sleep. I get up early and work this hard so she could sit at home and buy equipment underneath me.
She was on last week, though. She was up at 8 o'clock and on.
Well, I know this.
Or is that because you were
kind of rough for her? She cracked her tooth and stuff, so I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, you were
Let
saying.
me go bother her.
Oh, we lost Maddie. He probably his battery probably went. Anyone else that wants to chime in? Pre-ignition with a half compression. No, the timing isn't that far advanced though, MC. So, for the most part, nah. Plus we're using fuel that's in the 90s, high 90s, mid to high 90s. So that's usually not that bad. I don't ever hear any detonation on those things. Hard to tell though when you do the mufflers over too. But you take them apart, you look at the piston. You look at the spark plugs, you look at everything, and But hey, Maddie, oh, you there? Oh, hold on. Put your mic on, Maddie. It says your mic and your cam's not on. It says devices up. Try it again. Here we go. You back? Oh. I don't know, Maddie. Holy cow. I'm losing everybody. Hard to tell, though, MC, because when you do the two strokes like that, you get four stroking. You optimally try and tune it so that at full throttle, it four strokes out of the wood. And then once you put it into the wood, it straightens out. So hard to tell.
Who do we lose? Did I
go.
lose the chat or not?
Oh, there's Maddie. Hold on.
I'm here.
Okay.
All right, we got it. Hey, Maddie, you want to answer MC? He's asking about, are you afraid with all that compression you're going to get some knocking?
No. Nope. The only time I don't know about knocking, but the only time compression really becomes a problem, I think, is really like north of 250 pounds. It starts working against itself. It becomes not as much power because you're working against yourself. But I've only heard that.
Yeah. Ed, wave, Ed.
Seen it. I've seen guys post pictures of compression testers.
There he is. Hey, Ed.
Hey, Ed.
Hey, yeah.
I've seen guys actually have pictures of compression testers at like 270. So then the problem up there starts to be A, probably losing power, and B, dieseling.
Yeah.
But
I wonder what it converts to the ratio.
Good morning, Uncle Ed.
Morning, Jason.
Yeah, I don't know what converts to ratio, but the knocking or like a head slapper would be a problem if the connecting rod expands too much. If it heats up and the con rod expands too much, then you have a head slapper. But that's simply a matter of making sure your squish is consistent.
Yeah. And a lot of people are cutting it close lately too. I've seen guys going down 10, 9, 8, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, 20 is fine. At least for me, I'm not racing, so
I do
Except
race
in
a little bit.
April 18th, right?
Ed, what are you doing this morning?
What's going on, Ed?
Just hanging out. We got snow yesterday, so I ain't going outside and doing shit.
Where are you, Ed?
Ohio.
Okay. Yeah, I know Indy had it the day before. You get about 3-4 inches?
Yep.
Yeah.
But
They said we were going to get it today, but we didn't get anything.
Yeah, but it didn't stick to the like driveway or anything like that. Some of the grass, but it's all over the vehicles. It's all over the porch and decks and stuff like that.
Enough to be a pain.
Yeah, and make it cold out. Yeah.
You working on anything, Ed? Anything with your motor or what?
No, not really. Not this weekend. I'm gonna call the machine shop Monday and see where they're at on my block. It was supposed to be a week and a half, and it's been 2 weeks now. So
Yeah.
I know.
This is with
I know.
the 341? Which
Yeah.
engine?
No.
Yeah.
No, my V twin.
When's your season start, Ed?
It should start like the end of April, beginning of May. But there's talk now that they're going to postpone a lot of the polls because of the Contra or control, whatever.
Yeah, Corona. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we just went. It's funny. We went to a diner, not a diner. It's like a little Mexican cafe place we go to sometimes for breakfast. Literally, there's probably 20 people every time we go in there. Nobody. My buddy and I were in there for an hour. We were the only people in there. And they said it's been like that all week. People are afraid to go to restaurants. Doesn't matter if it's Chinese or not. They're just afraid. It's crazy, you know?
Yeah, I was going to go for breakfast this morning and decide, nah.
I tell you, I had pancakes with a little jalapeno. My God. Unbelievable.
Just to answer MC Engineering's question on the dieseling, I'm not too familiar with it because I've never really seen dieseling, with the exception of in a vehicle. My buddy had an International Scout 2 in college, and he literally turned the key off, and the engine did not shut off.
We used to take a squirt bottle of water when that happens, put a little water in the carburetor.
It's just like, holy smokes.
My father's 73 Chevy was like that. You key off, there was so much carbon built up in the chamber, it would actually run in reverse. Ding, 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 for like a minute until you squirted water in there. So, but anyway, what we would do is we put like a methanol water injection on it, take it on the highway at about 90 mile an hour, just pump water into it and loosen up all the carbon. That was like an old trick we used to do years ago.
Now you just use seafoam, right?
Well, Pate, oh my God, everything. That's like his miracle in a can. He did a video last night. He just put out this morning about something that didn't run for a few years. And at the end of his title, it said seafoam. So I don't know if he's getting free cans from them or what, but it seems like every problem he has, seafoam's the cure. So
I think I've got like 7 of it sitting around.
Yeah.
I actually use it. You know, if I need to thin out chainsaw bar oil, I put a little in there too.
Oh, yeah. I've used it before, but you know, like any snake oil, I mean, how good is it? I don't know. You know.
Well,
I don't know.
Back in the day, we used to suck it in through the evap system on the carbureted motors and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first time we ever did one, it was in my buddy's shop. And he'd been hearing about it. He's like, we got to try this. We got to try this. Yeah, it smoked us out so bad.
Oh, yeah.
So, do it outside.
But even outside, it's like a mosquito fogger. The whole neighborhood would be full of smoke. My buddy did it with Mustang. You couldn't even see the neighbor's house. It was just, oh, my God.
Well, this was
seafoam
back in
works. It's just not, it's not magic in a bottle, per se. If the clog grader's clogged up, it's clogged up. But I mean, you see on my channel, I've woken up maybe 2 or 3 machines using seafoam. I mean, is it lucky? Is it not? I mean, it is what it is. But as far as putting it in your oil, it definitely does work, but it's a double-edged sword because now you're cleaning up all the sludge and stuff building against the seals. And now that stuff was holding in leaks and now it's all gone, and now you got a junk motor or a ton of leaks on your hand. So,
well, that's why they say never change your training fluid after 100,000 if you haven't done it.
Yep. Well, that's another thing too, because transmission's all pressure, and that sludge is working its way in and out of the clutches and stuff, and building up and keeping pressure. You clean that stuff out. Now there's play in the clutches, and the pressure is alleviated, and now you're stuck with you did more bad than good. So preventive maintenance is very important.
Well, how about on some of these cars like VWs and such? They don't even have dipsticks or drains. How do you even get? They don't even want you to touch them.
Well, I know because I don't work on cars anymore. But the last time I worked on the VW was for brakes, and you couldn't retract the piston in the caliper. You needed a scan tool to do that.
Like BMW, you have to electrically close them. Yeah.
It's insane. It's like they're taking. Well, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe certain people shouldn't be working on their own stuff, especially brakes. But for certain guys,
the stupid the calipers. My Maxima, the rear calipers, you couldn't retract them. We put big friggin' clamps on there to try to get them back in. They wouldn't go, and we finally looked it up, and we're like, "Oh, you turn them. You turn it.
You screw them in."
A damn wrench and turn it, and it finally goes. And I don't know how that mechanism works because it doesn't twist going out; it only twists going in. It comes out straight.
Yeah.
How do they figure that one out?
Are the same way. Yeah. Yep. No, a friend of mine taught me that because you see the plus mark on the caliper. It's for that wrench to twist them in. That's why they have the indentations in the piston.
They make
that wrench is terrible. I have it. It's awful.
Oh yeah, I know.
Do I have?
Yeah. No, you really need a C clamp with it to keep pressure on it.
I'm trying to think if I have.
I've got the tool at work that has all the adapters for all the different makes and models, and that's basically what it is. It's a T-bar with a bolt going through it, and there's adapters that go on it, and
that's it. Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Socket in, you put your extension or socket in here, and you turn it.
Yeah. Whenever you see the marks on the piston, you got to twist it. But you know what I do every time? I just replace the calipers. I don't care.
Yeah, we're diesel here, but sometimes we have to work on, certain people's cars that we should be taking care of.
The boss's car. The boss's girlfriend's car.
It's the boss of the company's trucks that we work on.
Yeah.
I think the craziest thing we worked on here is a Ferrari, which was kind of mind-blowing. But, I mean, it is what it is. If you could afford a Ferrari, you take that to the dealership. You don't bring that to us.
Hey, MC Engineering just put a comment. Bonami to clean out the engine. Bonami cleanser? I never heard that. Unless you want to ruin the engine.
Hasn't scratched yet, right?
Listen,
you never know, right?
Skin a cat. You know what I mean? Whatever works.
Somebody's witch's brews.
It's like putting toothpaste in an engine. Sure.
Well, toothpaste is good for cleaning cloudy headlights.
I gotta get this going.
Where is everybody? Sunday morning. Is everybody at church?
Well, you know what?
Maybe.
I texted the missus, and she said she's busy doing report cards. I'm like, you could jump on the live. Don't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Especially I think she's gonna have off all week, so she should be very productive.
I was gonna say, what are the report cards matter? The kids aren't gonna be there.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think it's I don't know how to. I mean, I don't want to talk. I don't want to get political or whatever. I'm trying not to, but right, the school district that she works in, well, we're in New York, right? I mean, they're not closing the school because there's a lot of kids who depend on state aid or
it's all money. Yep.
Homeless or whatever. It's like, come on, man. Get a job, please. Get a job.
Hey. All about the dollar. Chris is on right now. I see her in the stream.
Oh, okay.
So
she could jump in the chat. She could take over.
I'll post the link.
I don't want to say something I don't want to.
There's the link. Here she comes. All right, keep it clean, Jason.
Of course.
There we go.
I didn't even know we both could jump on. Oh, good morning. How are you?
You got to click off the YouTube, Chris.
Oh, my God. When my husband thinks that he knows enough to start talking about my job, I shut down what I'm doing, and I feel the need to pop on.
I can hear. Did she mute me?
I just want you
No, she
gentlemen
can't
to
mute
know.
you.
I don't know if you gentlemen know,
I can't hear her.
but I am less than a year away from being called Dr. Pate because I'm
There
finishing
you
an
go.
administrative program, and this man thinks that he knows about what I do. You might as well just mute him now. No,
He's got the school of hard knocks.
I have
Yeah.
been Dr. Olson for
He signed off. Uh-oh.
yeah.
and I have yet to get my wife to call me Dr. Olson.
Yeah, I also need a babysitting service for him. I've been trying to find one for about 19 years. So yeah, basically the school has closed down only for 2 days because it's been state mandated that we don't have to complete 180 days. But if this Department of Health does not close down your school, the school loses state funding. Now, the argument lies that there are many districts across the island that have closed where they don't have a positive case, that they're just closing to clean house. And that's what we're doing for 2 days. So we finally made the jump to lose the state funding to do so. But I believe that at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, by the end of the week, the state's going to realize that because it's a national emergency, they will give us the funding for the days that we closed. Because we're one of just a couple districts now that haven't closed, and the state basically has mandated almost every school to close. So it's just a matter of time. But yeah, the districts on the island that students rely on food or lunches, etc., they've actually set up portable hubs or delivery services. So I'm not quite sure why we haven't addressed some of those issues yet. But I think where they're trying to remain, as we've been told to tell the public, business as usual for as long as possible. But the reason we close for Monday and Tuesday is because of the amount of absences of staff and children last Friday. So when you have that many staff members out because their own children's schools are closed, you have to start thinking of that as well. So they're trying to take Monday and Tuesday to make sure that we're in a clean atmosphere. And but who knows what Tuesday night will call as far as whether we finish out the rest of the week. But there's still things that are due to the parents by Wednesday. And one of those is report cards. So, and I'm also on quite a few leadership committees that they have not changed the deadlines of curriculum. So I have those that are due by Wednesday. So I had this computer going, a laptop going, and my husband goes, "Are you awake yet?" He left at 4:30 this morning. He leaves in the morning. When you are that many positions, I'm working the minute he leaves the house. There's no beauty sleep here.
Well, that's what he said. He said you got to get your beauty.
Oh yeah. Okay. Do you see? These are natural bags. Yeah. So, and I'd like to add,
I know in Connecticut.
he left with lunch, breakfast, coffee, and a thermos. I take care of him on his way out. So
He just has to remember to bring the empty back into the house.
bring the what, honey? Oh, I would appreciate it, so it's not lingering in the car for a few days. It's very little I ask for, seriously.
Now, does he have a Yeti or is it just a regular thermos?
He has a Yeti.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. He didn't for a while, but in the summertime, when they send him on road calls, he would come back and I'd say to him, "Oh my God, the water in this thermos, like it didn't last. Like it'd be like, pond water." And we made the jump on everything, his coffee mug, his thermos mug, when he's in that line of work, he's got to have a cold and hot beverage last. So yeah, no, he's got all the good stuff. He does. But yeah. But
I know here in our town, the schools are closed indefinitely right now in Trumbull, where we are, and in New Haven, they're closed too indefinitely. So who knows what's going to go on.
So you guys will love this little story, this small engine slash Mr. Pate story. So yesterday he did so well. He had so many sales. Like people were getting the spring fever yesterday, and it was awesome. And as much as we like to joke around, there's no competition with him and I as far as, it's like all healthy, clean fun, like I really enjoy just like pushing his buttons, and my side business that I do outside of work, my intervention business, has really just been setting off. And I'll be honest, it's economical as far as like, however the economy's doing, that's when I'll get a lot of higher end clients who really want to.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Is that him?
He wants me to sell a backpack blower today. So basically, if the economy's doing well, people want their children worked with, and they reach out to me, or a friend of mine owns a consulting firm, and she reaches out to me to work with these children. And so last night he was feeling pretty good about himself, because this week, between my fines, I sold some things. And then my outside business was skyrocketing this week. Like I had clients reaching out, can you take on my child? Can you take on my child? So he was feeling a little bit of the burn this week. But I try to tell him, I've been doing this for 19 years. Like my side business should be booming, Well, last night as he was feeling real good about himself, I get a message. I got your number from so-and-so. Could you take on my child? And this will be someone who probably wants me 3 or 4 times a week, even over the summer, to do intervention. And, it's really quite a nice, profitable business on the side. So I thought the man was just going to like cut himself with his Gillette razor at that point. Oh, he was so salty last night again, but he's a funny one. So today he wants me to sell a Echo BP 280T.
That's a small one.
Well, I've got a small amount of time today, so that's about as good as we get. So, oh no. Oh, and he wants to know if I'll have time to start working on that trimmer. Because
is that going to be your fix now? You're the only one that's going to work on it?
Well, because Mick had to go and ask his audience yesterday if they wanted me to start trying to work on a piece of equipment. So that's my challenge. There were many thumbs up on that one. So yes. Apparently, I'll try to squeeze that into the other things I have going on today, apparently.
Well, just remember to bring tools, unlike your husband did when he worked on his last trimmer.
Oh, man.
No. See, my fear is, I'll be honest with you. So I have no problem. So what my husband fails to reference, so my father worked for Grumman Aerospace. And Matt, this is kind of funny, a funny side story about my mother too. My mother actually got, back in the days, she's no longer with us, but my mother was valedictorian of her class, and she got a full ride to NYU back in the day. And she wanted to actually be a dentist for the military. That was her dream. And then she met my father, and that all fell to the wayside. And my mother ended up actually going to work for Grumman's with them. And she ended up becoming a sketch artist for them. And later on in life, she became a nurse. And so long story short, my father also came from a very mechanically inclined family. And so growing up, I watched so many things being fixed. We had like quite the setup at my house. Like my father was meticulous, and our garage was like something you had never seen. My mother my mother did a lot of modeling back in like her days, her and her older sisters, just for fun. But like her one sister actually did something with it. And so besides being smart, she was a beautiful woman, but she had a thing for like muscle cars. So growing up, we always had like a muscle car in the garage, and I was the only child for so many years in my house. So I always was around tinkering on cars and oil changes and you name it. So I can do those type of things, like the oil changes, and I'm real good as like an assistant with a car. But this small engine stuff, like I know I could pick it up if I watch it long enough. Like I watch all the videos and all that, but like I'm so nervous that when I sit down to do something, I'm like super meticulous. And I watch the way my husband does things, and he's kind of like he grabs and goes as he does. And I'm afraid I'm going to be made fun of because I just imagine myself like before starting, like unraveling like a surgeon my tools. And I'm sure I'll be torn apart for that. So
Yeah, but Chris, you've seen us. It's not exactly brain surgery. So
and you know what though? I have the utmost respect for it though. I mean, everything someone does and takes the time to do, I have respect for. So I don't want to take it lightly that like anybody could do it. But I definitely want to try, you know. I think maybe this trimmer might be a good place to start. I'm thinking like it's in good shape. I would say from what I saw when he was demoing it the day I got it, the trigger feels a little off. So like I'm definitely going into territory that I'm not sure of. But with me, I'm a little bit of a nerd. When I don't know something, I want to figure it out. And I don't like being told I can't. So, and my husband is surely telling me I can't. So, and I think now Mick has challenged me. So,
well, you could always tell Jason if you have a problem, you can go see Henry.
Well, it's funny. I already have like my list of people. I'm like, okay, I know we've got Ken, we've got Matt, Henry is within 2.5 minutes walking distance of the house. I could walk the machine right over. But Henry might charge me for advice. You know, it's quite.
Well, you could charge him for consulting someone with special needs.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone, don't get Henry twisted. He is quite the businessman.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, to retire at 51?
Yeah, he's got to make his money where he can. So at the end of the day, even his latest video, if you notice, he was trying to get in on that video with Mondo. Well, Mondo's trying to get his video in. Henry is smart when it comes to his moves. So I'm sure if I came over to ask for advice, I better have my camera ready because Henry's going to try to video that as well.
I mean, Henry's a great businessman, but looking at what he knows about small engines, at least at this point, he's got a little bit to learn, though, because sometimes it's like I'm watching Rube Goldberg. You know what I mean? So a little bit, nothing against Henry. I love Henry. Yeah. Love his channel, love everything about him. But sometimes, he'll go in there and use the wrong this or the wrong that, and you don't want to correct him. But, the only thing that did it for me with Henry was the Crocs. Once I saw the Crocs, I was like, I lost all respect, I
got to be honest. You might catch me working in I obviously in what I do, I have to wear heels with a business suit when I go to meetings for the administrative things. But if I'm teaching, I'm in flats. And heels are not comfortable, but I probably would rather fix this machine in a set of heels than throw a pair of Crocs on. I'm sorry. With all due respect.
Well, you know what they say with the Crocs, though? The holes in the Crocs, that's where all your pride leaks out.
But he literally, bless his heart, it could be snowing out with a foot of snow, and that dear soul will have his Crocs on.
Well, Crocs and socks. He does the Crocs and socks when it's cold out. But it's funny. I was watching one of his videos. I guess he was a flight attendant years ago. Well, and I could just imagine Henry walking down the 747, peanuts, Coca-Cola, this and that. But hey, like I said, retired at 50, 51, God bless him. I mean,
Absolutely.
if you can manage that, he did well.
You know, he's like my father-in-law. My father-in-law worked for the department, a New York City Department of Housing. Retired at, I want to say 54, and they had to buy him out. It would have been too expensive to keep him on. So,
all the sick pay and everything. Yeah. Yep.
You know, guys that can, and gals that can do that, more power to them, you know? I mean, so, but yeah, no, so I'm willing to take on the challenge. I am, but I don't want to come across as I know it may seem easy, whatever the fix is. I don't like when people come across as a know-it-all, and I don't like when people also poo-poo what other people do for a living, because I know that there's men and women that do, you know, small engine repairs, and I don't want to make a mockery of it. So I do want to kind of wrap my head around trying to do it before I fix it. So, but it will be my best attempt. I don't do anything half tush, if you know what I mean. We'll see. I might definitely be asking for help at some point, though.
It looks like Jason finished up teaching his assistant there what he needed to do.
Oh, well, I often find that quite funny when they put, you know, something about my husband that he comes across once in a while as, well, let me refrain what I was about to say. Not once in a while. He's quite a class clown quite often. But he is quite a phenomenal teacher. Something I'm not sure if he's mentioned, but he has a master's degree in teaching.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he has a master's degree in education.
What was he doing at Sears?
Pardon me?
What was he doing at Sears then?
So the story behind that was he graduated with his master's, and at the time, there you are, love bug. Honey, do you want to tell why you ended up at Sears? With
a master's degree, yeah. I'd like to hear that one.
Can you unmic yourself? Do you want to, sweetheart, do you want to tell them, because I'm just saying what a good teacher you are. It's true. He likes to joke that he's not, but he really is when he puts his head to it. You want to tell them how you ended up at Sears at the time?
So what happened was that I went to school. Hold on, let me unplug this air line. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to put you guys down.
Oh, we lost Maddie.
Sorry. Well, let me turn this around. So obviously growing up, skilled trade was not pushed. I mean, no one in my family per se was a skilled tradesman except for my father, but he progressed to management. And idiot me should have went and followed in his footsteps because he offered me a job in the city with him. And I said, no, Dad, I want to go to college. Because I was a studious student. So I went to my guidance counselor and we talked. And I said, you know what? I'm going to become a teacher. I enjoy history. I love history. And I had a couple of really good teachers. So I went to Hofstra. I had a major in history and a minor in anthropology. And I graduated from Deer Park High School. And they told me, when it comes time to do student teaching, come back to us and, we'll take care of you. Okay.
Like, you'll have a job.
So as I progressed on my educational career, Hofstra said, I want to send you to Garden City. Garden City pays more money. So no problem. So it was me and two other students or teachers, we went and I did my, student teaching there. And then in the end, I wasn't offered a job because one of the girl that was in that group with us, she had an in with the school district. So there's this thing
very
called
political
nepotism.
Today.
It's always who you know.
The job in nepotism, and I freaked out. I went to Hofstra. I went nuts on them, and I says, "You set me up for failure." Because when I went back to Deer Park, they says, "We told you to do student teaching with us. You didn't do student teaching with us. Good luck." So they kind of screwed me. So when I freaked out at Hofstra, their answer to me was, well, you have to get more school. So Hofstra, you have to get a master's. So Hofstra says, now you have to enter our master's program, and we're going to give you a discount on tuition. So instead of it costing me $60,000, they wanted to cut me a deal for like $45,000. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm already in $200,000 in debt. I graduated with $220,000 in debt. So now you want to add that even more?
When we met,
absolutely not.
Yeah, when we met, he was at about the 160 mark, and it was like, yeah.
When I graduated Hofstra, I was paying $1,400 a month in student loans, and when we met, I got it down to $775 a month. So
almost the reason we couldn't buy a house. It was scary, and nothing he did wrong. He was misguided the whole time.
So what I did is I looked up companies that would do tuition assistance. Sears was one of the only companies that would let you work with them, and you could stack 2 years worth of tuition assistance and then go to school. A lot of jobs only do it per year. Sears did 2 years. So I was going to work at Sears for 2 years now and become a legit worker and I was working at pizzerias and restaurants to put me through college off the books. So Sears, I got a real paycheck per se, and they helped me with tuition assistance, and I didn't have to pay anything into it. They just gave me a percentage of my over salary, and I would stack it up for 2 years and go to grad school. Well, Sears and Kmart merged, and I was not grandfathered in, and I lost everything. So I didn't have a choice. I was kind of like a fish flapping out of water at that point. I didn't know what to do. And I met her, and I met someone that through Sears as well at Ryder, and here I am. So, I mean, it is what it is. Now, as far as teaching goes, after hours, I have to teach all the new guys here when they come in for work. And then also I have to take all the tests for the shop for certifications. Yeah. You know, a lot of these guys, a lot of these mechanics, they're phenomenal, better than me, 110%, no more than me.
But they can't test.
Nope.
You know, but they can't pass the test. So I'll pass the test for them, or I'll pass the test for the shop, so we can work on these engines and get paid for warranty and recall work. So that's the only way I apply my education now, and through my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole reason I went to work at Sikorsky Aircraft was because of the education. I worked third shift for 2.5 years just to get in there as a supervisor. And then I started school immediately, did the bachelor's degree, then the master's degree, MBA. And it's helped me. It really has. But UTC, who used to own Sikorsky, paid 100%. So you never had to worry about it. Once we got bought by Lockheed, it's a lot different. I had to fork over like 15 grand out of my own pocket. But bachelor's and master's, I only had to fork over 15 grand. That ain't bad.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean,
Ken, you and I kind of followed like the same path. See, I left home, I was about 17. And when I started school at the time, there were no things as like with teaching now, they have dual programs and things. I just remember walking in the door and saying, whatever you see coming down the road in education, or however many credits you can let me take, like the max and beyond, because I need to get the biggest bang for my buck. As much as I can get, I'll do it. And I had the grades for it. I was a smart kid. And I ended up leaving my undergrad. I ended up having a double undergrad. And I ended up leaving with a total of 9 degrees. So I ended up triple undergradding plus finishing my master's in a year. And then I went back for another master's. So right now, that's why I only need 1 more year to finish up a doctorate in administration. But, you know, I feel like nowadays kids either are forced into going to college and really don't really, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you're not a college person and you have a skill, follow your skill. Like, and I can't believe as an educator I'm saying it, but it's true. Like, not everybody is meant for a college path.
But there's no trade schools anymore. Nobody's going to the trades.
And nowadays, everybody's pushing going and spending the college money. But if you are college bound, the best advice I could give to kids nowadays is assert yourself and stack as many credits as you possibly can while you're there and get the biggest bang for your buck, because colleges are telling the kids to space out the credits. And that's why you'll get kids taking, you know, the minimal amount of credits each semester while they're there. They're not telling kids that so they don't burn out. they're telling kids that because they want you to be there the longest amount of time that you can.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's
It's all about the
why
money.
many universities have 5-year undergrad programs now.
Yep.
And
They call it co-op.
yeah, and it's a money-making gimmick for most universities. That's why you don't see Columbia and Princeton and NYU and Brown. They're not doing a 5-year program because those kids are getting in and getting out, and they're 4.
Oh, yeah, for 100 a year, they better, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But a lot of your state schools and a lot of your non-Ivy League schools, they're pushing these 5-year programs, and these kids are leaving with these loans that are astronomical. Your Hofstra, I remember we sat down and, his Sears, he will never deny that he learned so much being a mechanic at Sears. It helped pave his way for what he knows now. But I remember we were dating, and there were some weeks, that his paycheck was, we're talking $200, $250, maybe $3. And at the time it was like, we were barely, making it by on that salary. And, it's no wonder the company crumbled on that end, families couldn't survive off of that. So thank God he is where he is now. And thank God he could do more with his trade. But you can't pay off a $200,000 student loan off of that salary, so it's hard. It's hard.
I told both of my kids, the first 4 years is on me.
Yeah.
And I said, after that, up to you. So my oldest, she went to Southern Connecticut. So I paid for that. All right. But then she wanted to get her master's because teaching. She ended up doing a co-op program at the University of Bridgeport where she would go to school at night for 2 years, but had to teach for free for 2 years. And it was a wash. So she saved 60, 70 grand by doing that. And now she's got her master's. So,
yeah.
Well, see, we're still pushing the 4-year degree where I work at.
Yeah. It's smart, but I look at even his sister. His sister toyed with teaching for a while. She's student taught. His sister went in and out of a few teaching programs and occupational therapy for a while. The girl didn't end up using any of it. Love her dearly, but now she has 5 years in student loans, and she's not doing anything that applies to any of the years she got her college education. And some will argue that she always has that degree. No, none of the programs that she started did she finish. So she doesn't have a college degree that's completed that could apply towards something. So no, she doesn't. No, she doesn't.
Let me chime in here for half a second. The student loan thing and the college education thing is certainly a pet peeve of mine for basically one reason. You have all these college kids that go, and maybe a lot of them did really well in high school because they did their homework, but they never did the most important homework of all, which was actually figuring out if a $250,000 education was ever going to pay off.
Exactly.
None of these. This is on the kids, and not on the colleges, because the colleges are going to push as hard as they possibly can, to get as much money out of the kids as they possibly can. And our dumb government is writing the check, non-collateralized loans, they're not asking the kids whether they're going to be able to pay it back or not.
Exactly.
So the kids sign on the dotted line because they want to go to college because they've been told that's what's to do, but they've never done the homework to figure out whether or not their investment is going to pay off. That is huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And parents co-sign for the loans, and now you've wrecked the credit of 3 people.
I agree.
Right? So we have $1.6 trillion in student debt today because kids have gone and done things, and gotten degrees that will never pay.
Yeah.
They've gone to college. It's never going to pay back.
Liberal arts.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter what it, and I'm not going to speak bad about any of the degrees, because if you do your research, if that's what you want to do, and you're going to make it work somehow, more power to you. But the kids don't do that. And here's the other thing. Part of the responsibility of the colleges is if I'm selling a car, right, I'm going to go and tell what horsepower it is, all the nice features, nice ball joints, whatever it is, right? colleges don't sell in the right way what their degrees are, because they don't actually bring alumni in and say, okay, here's my debt level, here's what I'm enjoying, as part of this profession, et cetera, et cetera. You need people that are 5 to 10 years out in the chosen professions, in the chosen degrees, to actually sell the degrees and say, okay, this is what I'm making, this is what my life is like on a daily basis, this is what my loan levels are like, all that stuff. And we have plenty of
never
degrees
allow them on campus
that are worth
Yeah.
nothing. So you're $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 in debt. So anybody that ends up in a pile of debt, okay, and says I'm still paying my loans off, okay, you didn't do your homework.
Yeah.
You didn't. You have no idea. And I'm not a whole lot different. I'm not saying I'm a lot different. I have an odd situation, but it's the same thing. What I didn't know, this was explained to me, very interesting. If you imagine 100 dentists graduate, the top profession in the country, okay, right now, U.S. News and World Report rates dentistry probably like the highest, rated profession in the country. 100 dentists work for 40 years, okay, not 20 like the state workers, but 40-year career, okay, 25 to 65. Out of those 100, how many retire in the lifestyle to which they're accustomed? Do you guys know? Take a guess.
10?
10?
I'd say 10.
Ed?
I'm going to go for
You gonna go 4?
50%.
Ed doesn't know. The answer is 1.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
One dentist retires in the lifestyle to which they're accustomed. A total of 5 retire at all.
Oh,
This was not explained to me before I went to dental school. And there are reasons why, okay? And retirement isn't always the objective of every profession. But there are aspects to certain professions that make them the way that they are. Now, we live in a very changing world. My wife's an accountant. Blockchain literally threatens her entire profession, right? Artificial intelligence threatens nearly all professions at this point. So we live in a very, very changing world, and really we don't really know what the next 10 years is going to bring. So I really don't envy the kids, including my kids, that are going to go to school, that are going to have to try to figure out what can humans do that will be valuable to other humans in 10 years. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. But certainly the student loan business and this education business is really, really, this is bad. We have a national security problem because we don't have educated people. This is bad.
You're absolutely right, Matt, because I went to a seminar just last year, and it was very interesting. As a child, the one question that I'm sure we can all remember, no matter the age difference here, that our teachers always used to ask us, what do you want to be when you grow up? And this seminar that I went to actually spoke to, it was administrators and teachers that all had about 15 years or better. That was the crowd. And they said how we should be telling the staff back at our buildings, do not ask that question of your children 10 and younger. So basically your elementary schools, because the careers that they mention now will most likely either have changed or not be available to them by the time they graduate from college or enter college. So that was kind of some food for thought, that the things that our children are even thinking about now may not even be on the horizon. But do you want to know even some of the basic trades that you think of, firefighter, things like a doctor, a dentist, all of those trades that you think that we absolutely need could definitely change and be replaced by technology in some sense of the form. So, people will say, well, we'll always need these things, not maybe in the way that we usually think about them. So it was kind of very interesting to hear this lecture that was given, and how we do speak to the children about what they want to do one day when they, college is presented or that time comes. My husband made a comment, and, I'm not disagreeing to just disagree with him. He said that everyone should have the college experience. I can speak firsthand on when when my mother passed away, I actually ended up adopting my brother a year later. He's 12 years younger. So I was 25 turning 26. He was still finishing high school. And I gave him I pay for first year of college for you at the time. And Kenneth, you're pretty familiar with the area, and Matt, you too. He wanted to do St. John's his first year.
Ooh,
and
nice.
it was a pretty penny. And I co-signed and paid out of pocket that first year, only for him to decide it wasn't for him, but he had the college experience. And then he went on to do Hofstra for a second year. We college bounced. And I felt like I owed it to him, being that I was now his primary caregiver. I wanted to give him the experience. I disagree with my husband that if you know that college is not for you, to just sign up for college for the college experience. It's a very expensive route to take to just have the experience. There's other ways that you could go about it than to put your family and yourself in debt, than to check out the local scene, to live in a dorm. There's other ways to go about it if you know it's not for you. Because I can tell you right now, we're years down the road and I'm still feeling the effects of the decisions I made for my brother. And I can tell you, Mr. Pate's performance, although he'll always have that piece of paper, we're still finishing off the debt from his experience. Mr. Pate's performance enjoyed his experience quite a bit. And I laugh because that's really what his first 2 years of it were, having a good time. So it was in a very expensive many nights out. So I don't agree with just going to say you went unless you plan on doing something with that. So
when I first went to school, I went to a technical college for mechanical engineering. My brother was going to Purdue at the time, and parents couldn't afford to send me anywhere. And I got accepted to all good places. So I went to the State Technical College in Norwalk, and I paid my own way, worked 35 hours a week in a grocery store. Okay, so I didn't have the experience as far as a dorm or anything like that. I'd go to school at 7 a.m, get home at 4, work till 10.
Yeah.
And then every weekend I worked. And then once I got out of there, I didn't even graduate yet. I already got my first job as an engineering technician, actually for $7.33 an hour. I thought I was rich, but that was 1983. But anyway, and then when I started, work, marriage, kids, all that stuff, then I went back to school. It was all night school. So the college experience for me was working and studying. That was the college experience. So, but like I said, I still push not college per se, but training, whether it be a tech school, Lincoln Tech, or whatever. Learn something, like Maddie said, that have a goal. I want to be a mechanic. I want to be this. I want to be that. Not just, I want to get a degree from an Ivy League school so everyone will want me, because you know what? A lot of people don't want you.
Yeah. My college experience was the same, and that's how I met my dentist friend, because I knew I needed braces in college, and I worked for a dentist in high school who I continued to work for in college, and he hooked me up with an orthodontist, and there was my college experience, always working for a professional that could always help me and introduce me to the right network of people. There was my college experience.
I've been going to college for 20 years, and I still don't know what I want to do with my life.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. You look darn good doing what you're doing.
See, I think partying's fine if you can afford it.
Exactly. I'm not someone else's dime.
Right. that and what's the metric for that?
Exactly.
I don't know. So tough issues.
I actually started my job because they offered free tuition for you and your kids.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
And then 5 years into it, I got divorced, so I have no kids. I know around
here, a lot of people want to get into like Yale and these schools in Connecticut here so they could do the tuition reimbursement for their kids.
Okay.
We have a lot of housekeepers that do that. They'll come in, they'll be there 4, maybe 5 years, let their kids go through school, and then they are gone.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, every place I worked, I had a guy working for me years ago. Nice guy, made blueprints for us. He was making about $6-7 an hour. I'm going back to the early 80s. The reason he never wanted a raise, and I never understood it. He goes, no, I don't need any money. Don't give me any money. I'm like, yeah, but Jose, you're making $8 an hour. What the hell? Because his kids got free tuition because he qualified. I never knew the scam, but all 3 of his children got free up to master's degrees because he made under the threshold for poverty. And I was like, wow, he bucked the system.
We have a guy that he's retiring at the end of June. He has 7 kids, and he has put all of his kids through the college that we work at, the university we work at.
He took advantage of it.
Yep.
That's why people say, too, you don't make any money. Yeah, but I just got $2 million worth of free college.
Yeah, well, it kind of gets under my skin because I will never use the free education portion of and they won't do anything for the people that have been there 15, 20 years that have never done that.
Yeah. Well, it's just like when you take out insurance at your place. Some place will offer you $2,000 a year so they don't have to pay $25,000 a year for your medical policy.
Right.
Things like that. So it's give and take.
We just had that with the Mister, actually. His union, up until 2 years ago, because being a state employee, my insurance far supersedes his. I will say there's a lot of things that I disagree with about my package, but the insurance is very, very good. So we wanted to pull out of his insurance and just have him be on mine. But for years and years and years, we didn't do it because they said, okay, you cannot take the insurance where he is, but we're still taking it out of your salary. So we said, what's the point of that? So bottom line, 2 years ago, they finally negotiated, you could not take the insurance and we'll give you the money in your salary. But if you saw what that amount of money equates to, you know it's not even the package they negotiated with the insurance. So, it's still better than nothing, but it's just amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, our place, you're paying up to $10,000 a year for family insurance, your contribution, and that's 1 quarter. Because the companies pay 3 quarters. I said, wait, that means the company's paying $40,000 a year. Yeah. I mean, holy cow, that's a lot of money.
No, it certainly is. It certainly is.
Well, say I can opt out of my health insurance at work, but if I do, you have to sign a paper that you can never opt back in.
Wow.
I've heard a lot of
that. Crazy. Wow.
Wow.
There were some housekeepers that did it, and their husbands, it went through a depression little thing. Their husbands lost their insurance. They tried to opt back in, and they're like, sorry, you signed the paperwork. You don't want back on our insurance because we're self-insured.
Yeah. Okay.
So they got screwed. They had to go out and get private insurance. And it's like, get the lowest package you can for single and keep your insurance. You can always up it later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and they don't want to pay the I think it's $102 a month for the basic crappiest insurance that we offer.
Yeah, just keep it on. Yeah.
So pay that $100 a month, in case something happens, that's good insurance. They didn't look at it that way. They wanted that $1,200 a year, and I'm like, whatever, y'all.
I was going to say that's one hospitalization copay,
Yeah.
Ken, you said it. I'll never forget. I want to say it was it was maybe about a year after my mother passed away. That's when I was diagnosed with stage 1 ovarian. And it was also the same year we had layoffs. Teachers were getting let off from gen ed positions in my district. And if you didn't have special ed, you were being let go, but you were being forfeited your health insurance. You had to go under something called COBRA. COBRA, if you were,
which means you're paying the full nut.
Yes. So COBRA for a single person was $775. The family plan was $1,250. Now remember, it was right during the time that I adopted my brother. So now we're paying $1,250 for the family plan. And I'm now going through this diagnosis. And I remember people saying, roll the dice. Just don't take the COBRA. And the New York State has got to reverse this at some point. You're still teaching, and they've got to reverse it that you're teaching and you got to have the insurance. Are you serious? Like you said, one doctor visit gone wrong, one hospital visit. And I'll never forget, I signed the papers for COBRA, took the COBRA on, and it was not even 2.5 months later, I got the diagnosis. And I said, my God, can you imagine if I took a crapshoot? And now at the time, my brother was only turning 15, learning how to drive, one accident, one this, like, you just can't. You just can't take a crapshoot on not having the insurance and not. Yeah. But no, they've got you. They've got you when it comes to medical insurance, and you just can't roll the dice on that. You just can't, because you want.
Now, how long have you been clean, Chris?
Pardon me?
How long have you been clean?
I am now in full remission. It has been 14 years this August.
Wow.
Yeah.
God bless.
Yeah.
God bless.
Thank you. And
my daughter was stage 4 Hodgkin's, and she's almost 9 years in remission right now. So I tell you, thank God for the drugs and the doctors we have.
I think mine was not to get all, but I think it was my mother looking over me, because I was actually going in for because they can't discover a stage 1 diagnosis unless you're in under the knife for something else. And I was having what should have been a very simple procedure being done for something else. And they actually ran a biopsy of some suspicious tissue. And I'll never forget, at the time, I was, young. A girlfriend of mine had just called off a wedding, one of those young and dumb weddings in your 20s. And she said to me, I have to go on my honeymoon still. And I just had my procedure done. I was recovered. And it was August. And I said, I'll go on your honeymoon with you. And I'll never forget, I was on that trip in Punta Cana, and I got a phone call from the States, from my doctor, that the biopsy came back positive. That I would have to make it back as soon as possible to sit down with the doctor to talk. But I was very, very lucky that I had the most non-aggressive approach, minimally invasive, and it was literally because they caught it as quickly as they did. So and I actually wasn't going to have that procedure done. I actually had canceled it twice because I said, I'm feeling pretty good now. And it was an endometriosis procedure. And I said, I'll be fine. I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm glad I stuck with it. So.
Oh, yeah. But, hey, everything happens for a reason,
Oh, absolutely. So, but medical insurance is huge. I can't imagine what all of that would have cost if.
Well, it's funny. I look back at some of the bills we received, and I think over almost a 1 year period, they billed over $3 million for all the different things.
Sure.
But I think they paid out less than a quarter of that.
Absolutely.
But what was ironic was you look at the bills, because we had Cigna at the time, and you see on the bill, denied. All these doctors, they'd walk into your room. Hey, how you doing? Sign your chart, $300.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're like, who are you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was funny because the person sitting next to my daughter, they were on the state. No work, no job, no nothing. Same diagnosis, right? Yeah. Doctor was there every 13 seconds, where my daughter had a doctor every 2 hours. You know what I mean? And you know why? Because the state was paying. Yeah. And I think it's ridiculous. I think it's totally ridiculous.
I'd like to say that I believe things have changed, but a colleague of mine I'm very close to is actually going through chemo and 2 forms of cancer right now. And, it's all money making. She's constantly on the phone with the insurance company, and to watch what she's going through and dealing with the insurance companies, it hasn't gotten much better out there. And to see what these poor people have to go through on top of what they're going through already, it's heartbreaking. So,
one of the hospitals we have locally is St. Vincent's. It was a really good hospital. Years ago, it was formed by a nun in Bridgeport back in the early 1900s, and it was basically a free hospital, but by the Christians, the Catholics, and it was run by nuns and all that stuff. And it was never a for-profit hospital. It was a hospital to cure people.
Oh, wow.
And ironically, it was their motto for years and years and years. No one gets turned down. Everyone gets treated, whether you have insurance or not. Well, they got bought. I'm not going to say the name, but they got bought by a massive insurance, hospital thing. You should see it now. The ambulances come in. Nope, send them there. Nope, send them there. Send them there. Because it's all about. Now it's a for-profit business.
Yeah.
I don't even call it a hospital anymore. Yeah. It's a business.
Exactly.
So,
everything's
not about healthcare anymore.
Everything's money making. Oh, side note, I see Matt has his Sears box up there.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
Hey, if anyone wants to talk about small engines today, I'm open.
It's always great fun with you, Ken. I always get such sidetracked.
Well, all of us in and of ourselves have something in common in some way.
Absolutely. Please, yesterday after our live, I said to myself, I have got to, do you know how much Grumman stuff I have somewhere? So the heartbreaking part is after my mother passed, my father was around. He just had such a terrible time of when she passed. He ended up leaving, going to Florida. And I said, I'll take on responsibility of my brother. So that's why I took him on. And, they sold the house and whatnot. So I don't have much of hers, but I do have some of the old Grumman patches.
Anakin.
Back in the day, I was like a Grumman rat. Like I was the kid who they swapped at guard headquarters at night. One worked during the day, one worked at night. So I've got some cool Grumman stuff with the Tomcat on it, and I got to dig some of it out.
Well, they made some cool planes. They made really cool planes, I tell you that. It was
to be a kid of two parents working there back at Grumman's prime. It was a good time. Grumman's was such a family-oriented company at the time.
Was it Northrop Grumman at the time?
No, this was well before Northrop Grumman times. Oh, absolutely. And once Northrop Grumman became involved, it was no more picnics, no more family get-togethers. It was a very different. We weren't even as kids allowed to come on the premise anymore. It was in Bethpage on Long Island where the big plant was. So those days were gone. There was a very different atmosphere there once that happened. So
just like us, we were owned by UTC for years, and once Lockheed bought us, the first couple of years it was like, no picnic, no this, no that. They're slowly bringing it back.
Yeah,
but it took a while because UTC did so much for us in that regard for families and all that. But Lockheed's coming around. I can say I do enjoy it now.
Yeah, but it was good times. Good times. But as a kid sitting at the dinner table, it was my father talking about the fighter plane that he was working on that day. And my mother talking about the sketch plans of the fighter plane that she was drawing up that my father was building. As a kid, I thought.
Do you have any of the sketches?
Oh, you know what? That's some of the stuff I bet he took with him. I have some stuff. I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot.
That would be cool.
You know what? I hate to say, but when she passed, my father went into like a little bit of a dark place, and he kind of does his own thing where he is now. So he took a lot of the memories with him and a lot of the good stuff. But I have some things. But it was just such a cool time to be a kid in that house. I remember, I'll never forget, I must have been about third or fourth grade. They both came to like a career day at my school. And I just thought I was like, because you got to remember, those were days of like, it wasn't controversial that your father was building fighter planes to fight in war. Like it was acceptable. Now,
like my kid, when I started at Sikorsky, my youngest was probably, I think 9 or 10 at the time, and they had to do a report on like what your parents did, and she's like, "My dad builds helicopters," So
it was
pretty cool.
It was cool. So I miss those days. But But it was good fun. So what does everybody have? I see. Is Matt already in his workshop?
I saw some pics. What do you got, Maddie?
Yeah.
I'm down in the shop here. I'm just getting ready for going on here. I think I'm going to go on here pretty quick because I got
All right. Well,
three
you know what?
saws to work
I
on.
gotta spend almost an hour and a half, guys. I got to get my hair cut and my beard removed and all that. I'm waiting for my barber.
Get off.
Oh yeah, I can tell you, my barber Dominique, the 78-year-old Italian.
Yeah.
God bless his soul.
Super
I'm waiting for him to call
smart.
me. I'm waiting for him to get back from church. He said he'll call me after church. He hasn't called me yet. So
Well, you
anyway,
know, they got to have breakfast and everything after. So
it's guaranteed. I'll go there. I'll come back home with a super sod and a bottle of homemade wine. So
Aw.
anyway, all right, let's call it off right now, guys. Thanks for everyone for showing up. Maddie, we'll catch you until my barber calls. But other than that, Ed, thank you. Chris, thank you. Maddie, thank you. Everyone that's chiming in. Nikki's just coming in now from Ireland, one of my favorites, and then we're gonna go.
Hi, Nikki.
But Nikki, we'll catch you next time, though. Everyone, tune into Maddie's channel, Matthew Olson. He's going to be on shortly. And have a great day, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
Too. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye,
guys.
Okay. See you guys.